Can we talk a little bit about your life? Because I am very curious if your first relationship, your first marriage, was a replica of your relationship with your mother, or
Not only a replica, the story repeated by the most horrific details. I was very young,
when you
married.
first.
I was 21 or something, and my ex-wife was 18, I think, and we had children, and I was in England, and I didn't know anything about psychology. I was an artist before, none of this, and I was very naive. I couldn't even speak English very well, even. And one incident happened, has turned my whole life around, totally. When my parents were divorced, we went into court cases for a very long time, fighting. And one day, my dad used to take us from school, take us to the court, because the judge wanted to see us, all this. I was that big. And years after, when I was in England, and we went through a big divorce, I had to go to court to meet the judge with my children. And what happened, I don't think I will ever recover in my life from that situation. I took my kids, walked to the court. The court building in England was identical to the court building in Egypt because it was built by the British.
Wow.
And I was walking with them and looked at them, and I went back to how I was. And I went like in hypnosis, in severe shock. Wow. Everything looked the same because the British built many things in Cairo, in Egypt, and they built the court, and the wall, the corridors, everything. And I would never recover from this ever in my life, I think. And then I realized I have become my father.
Wow.
This when I want to be a psychologist.
So this was the aha moment?
Not only, can you imagine if you escaped from your childhood and you end up in the same situation again. And I thought thousands of miles away, I escaped, but I did not escape. Why?
So this was the moment when you were first aware?
I woke up, I realized. You see, you hear things, you read things, but you can teach something you're not convinced of. You see, you can memorize something and say it to people, but this one is not. This one is a shock to my brain. And then the things I start reading about, my God, actually, they are true.
And this is not only your story.
Yeah. Yes.
Because this story, I see it is repeated by
everybody.
By everybody, almost.
But you know why? Do you want to know why it's repeated?
Why?
Because it's not finished. I give you a metaphor. I like this one.
So we repeat the stories of our...
I'll explain to you. There's a law in this universe. If something not finished, it has to finish. For example, you read many books, yes? What?
Sorry,
yes.
Just one moment.
Yes.
You know Mihaela Tatu?
No.
Mihaela Tatu told me in this podcast this thing, that she wants to end the story of her mother, of her grandmother, not to continue through her daughter.
You cannot.
You cannot end the story?
You have to do something.
Okay.
Not with your mind. And I will tell you. Just I want to give you that metaphor quickly. You read many books, yes? Have you once read a book but you didn't read the last chapter? And this book will stay in your mind more. That says it all. If something happened in your past is not closed, it's a wound that will stay open. What does it mean not closed? I didn't grieve enough. I didn't cry enough. I didn't suffer. I didn't feel the pain. I escaped. So it's open. and I had to go back in a different way. So the situation that happened was actually a process of healing. It's not punishment. So we repeat. Why? Because we could never accept and deal with what happened to us. Basically, we cannot escape. You cannot. If you hurt your child, yes, and you did not go back to him and assure him everything is okay, you stay with him, that wound will stay until he's adult. So when the situation happened with my parents, my mother left, my father was somewhere else, and I was left alone, yes, and I had an abusive brother. Nobody told me, you suffered, it's okay. I decided I am strong now and I can deal with this. But I was a child. So the wound is open, it's not healed. And this is the story of everybody. The experience is not integrated. Every experience must be, like when somebody dies, you must grieve. You don't say, okay, I'll get on with my life. Because the body needs to heal. It needs. You watch stable parent, when a child had a very bad experience, the parent is there. It's okay, don't worry. I'm sorry. So the child realized, actually, I now hurt, but it's going. But if this is not addressed, yes, then it's energy going in the system.
So we end the story by feeling also the pain.
Yeah, but you see, the bottom line here, people need to realize how powerful we are. We can create the same experience. We are powerful, positive and negative. You see, I was very strong person to create it again, because it was in my consciousness. See, going back to the beginning, you asked me how to be stable. You cannot be stable like this. It's impossible. You see, I was never stable, so I was all over the place, and because of my strength, I made it happen again.
Yes, but you became stable by learning.
No, by many failed relationships.
Yeah.
By many struggle, by many disasters, by hundreds